Your brain is completely incapable of dating your emotional wounds. When you recall a devastating memory from 10 years ago, your neural architecture does not retrieve a quiet, dusty file from a past cabinet. It actively recreates a living, breathing emergency in the present moment. Time is a cognitive illusion that your emotional center actively rejects. This temporal distortion means that the pain you felt in your past is not actually behind you. It is preserved in a permanent state of high alert, waiting for the slightest environmental trigger to resurrect it with full force. By unpacking the precise neural mechanisms of this temporal trap, we can begin to understand why our most painful memories feel so incredibly fresh. We are going to look directly at the intricate biological pathways that bypass our internal clock, forcing our minds to experience historical distress as an active, immediate threat. To understand why your brain keeps you trapped in this eternal now, we must look at the structural design of your emotional processing center. Inside your temporal lobes sits a tiny, almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. Think of the amygdala as your brain's smoke detector, constantly scanning the environment for danger. Right next to it is the hippocampus, which acts as your brain's chronological archivist, meticulously stamping every event with a specific date, time, and context. Under normal circumstances, these two systems work in perfect harmony. When you experience a pleasant dinner with friends, the hippocampus stamps it as occurring on a specific Tuesday evening in autumn, files it away, and your brain knows it is over. But when an event carries high emotional distress, this filing system completely breaks down. Don't worry. In a groundbreaking study published in 2006, neuroscientist Dr. Bessel van der Kolk utilized functional magnetic resonance imaging to observe the brains of individuals as they recalled their past experiences. What he discovered was staggering. When these individuals remembered their painful past, the left prefrontal cortex, specifically Broca's area, the region responsible for speech and placing events in a coherent temporal sequence, completely shut down. At the same exact moment, the right amygdala lit up with terrifying intensity. The clock stops. This means that when your brain recalls emotional pain, the part of your mind that understands time and language goes offline. Your amygdala perceives the threat as happening right now, in this very room, at this exact second. It cannot see the calendar. It does not know you are older, safer, or miles away. To your survival brain, the threat is eternal. This neural breakdown changes absolutely everything about how you experience daily life. When a sensory trigger, a subtle change in someone's tone of voice, a specific scent in the air, or a brief moment of silence hits your thalamus, it does not take the slow, rational highway to your prefrontal cortex. Instead, it takes the low road, a super-fast, direct pathway straight to the amygdala, a phenomenon mapped extensively by neuroscientist Dr. Joseph Ledoux in 1996. Within milliseconds, your body is flooded with adrenaline and cortisol. Your heart rate spikes, your breathing patterns shift, and you feel an overwhelming wave of dread or rage. Why do you suddenly overreact to a harmless comment from your partner as if your physical survival is on the line? It is because your prefrontal cortex, which should act as the rational brakes on this emotional train, fails to suppress the hyperactive amygdala. This is not a character flaw. It is a direct consequence of your brain's wiring. To confirm this temporal disconnect, Dr. Ruth Lanius led a pivotal study in 2015, mapping the brain connectivity of patients with severe trauma responses. Her team found a profound functional disconnection between the medial prefrontal cortex and the amygdala. Normally, the prefrontal cortex sends inhibitory signals to quiet the amygdala down, saying, "Look at the calendar, this happened 10 years ago, we are safe now." But in those who carry unresolved emotional pain, this pathway is severely degraded. The rational brain is effectively locked out of the room while the emotional brain screams fire. Think of the last time you felt a sudden surge of inexplicable anger or anxiety. You might find yourself withdrawing from a supportive partner, convinced they are about to abandon you, because your amygdala is projecting the template of an old childhood betrayal onto your present reality. You are not responding to the person standing in front of you. You are fighting a ghost from your past that your brain has summoned into the room. Fortunately, we do not have to be helpless passengers to our amygdala's alarms. We can begin to use this science to rewrite how our brains process these triggers. We can actively train our neural pathways to restore temporal order to our mind. The first step in this neurological recalibration is mastering the technique of spatial temporal labeling. The moment you feel that familiar sudden surge of anxiety or anger, you need to manually force your prefrontal cortex back online by speaking to yourself in highly specific terms. Do not focus on the emotion. Focus on your physical surroundings. Note the date, the year, the color of the wall in front of you, and the physical sensations of your feet pressing against the floor. By doing this, you are forcing the hippocampus to create a real-time chronological stamp. You are sending a clear signal to your amygdala that says, "This threat belongs to 1999, but my body is currently in the present year, and we are safe." This simple linguistic act re-engages Broca's area, which we know shuts down during emotional distress. The second method utilizes the power of bilateral stimulation to process the emotional charge of the memory. Pioneered by Dr. Francine Shapiro in 1989, bilateral stimulation, which is the foundation of eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, involves moving your eyes laterally from left to right while gently holding the memory in your mind. It sounds deceptively simple, but the neuroscience behind it is profound. This rhythmic left-to-right movement mimics the natural processing that occurs during rapid eye movement sleep, allowing the brain to transfer the memory from the hyperactive emotional amygdala to the long-term chronological storage of the hippocampus. You are essentially taking a radioactive file and placing it inside a lead-shielded filing cabinet. The third method is to implement the physiological sigh to manually override your autonomic nervous system. When your amygdala perceives a threat, it immediately triggers the sympathetic nervous system, accelerating your heart rate and raising your blood pressure. You can reverse engineer this loop from the bottom up. Take 2 quick, deep inhales through your nose, followed by a long, slow exhale through your mouth. Doing this just 3 times immediately collapses the air sacs in your lungs, triggers your vagus nerve, and sends a powerful chemical signal to your brain that the emergency is over. We are told that time heals all wounds, but neuroscience proves that time alone does absolutely nothing to a neural pathway. Only active, conscious intervention can change how a memory is stored. Once you realize that your brain has been operating without a calendar, your entire relationship with your own emotional struggles undergoes a massive, permanent shift. You realize you are not broken, you are not dramatic, and you are not irrational. Your brain has simply been doing its job too well, trying to protect you from a threat it believes is still happening this very second. When you look at your own overreactions or the seemingly irrational outbursts of those around you, you no longer see malice or weakness. Instead, you see an amygdala trapped in a time loop, fighting a battle that ended years ago. This understanding shifts you from a state of self-judgment to one of profound, objective curiosity. You stop asking yourself, "What is wrong with me?" and start asking, "What time period is my brain currently reacting to?" By understanding the neural pathways that dictate your emotional memory, you reclaim the power to write your own neurological history. Continue expanding your understanding of the hidden biological machinery that drives your behavior, and join us as we untangle the complex threads of human psychology. Because the very next system we explore will completely shatter everything you thought you knew about how your brain constructs your daily reality.